everybody. Just have to start out. It makes Liz laugh when I do that.
Oh no, Vicky almost forgot about you.
Oh, Vicky almost forgot about me. Oh, man. Okay, so today we are making the petal pouch.
Oh, Beth Sheldon's making baby pillows.
And, oh, good for you, Beth. And here is the petal pouch. This is so cute. It's like a little clutch. So we got a zipper, open up, lining is trimmed. So we're going to be making this today. So this is going to be so much fun. I am going to be using the 1/4-inch foot and the zipper foot today. The supplies you need the RN foam, which you want the double-sided fusible RN foam. And then 3 different fabric colors. And you're going to cut out your pieces. So you need an outside piece, and they give you this. I made my pattern. They give you the pattern. I photocopied it, and then I traced it on cardstock, or you could turn around and trace it on the plastic template. And so you're going to cut out your pieces for your project that it says in the directions. You need 2 outside pieces fabric, 2 bottom pieces, and then 2 lining pieces and 2 foam pieces. You will need for the 2.5 by 20 strip for your strap, and then I will talk about it later. But you actually do binding to cover raw edges on the inside. They have you cut it at 1.5 inches. I did not like that, so I actually cut mine at 2 1/4, and I bound it like I did a quilt. I like it better than what they had done. Sorry for whoever made the pattern. I did alter it a little bit. But it is by Poorhouse Designs. So today, to get started, you're going to cut your pieces. And we are going to take this piece. And this is going to be your outside piece. So this piece here would be this white fabric on the petal pouch. You're going to fuse this together. Now, if you had a Blonde moment or a Thomas moment and did not get the double-sided RN foam that's fusible, you can get the Splendid Web with the paperback, fuse it to the wrong side of your fabric. The reason why I say that is because that's what I did. I forgot to get the fusible foam, so I did that. Do not use steam-a-seam or anything with a temporary adhesive because it will stick to your needle plate when you sew this. So it needs to be the Splendid Web that doesn't have the temporary sticky. So what you're going to do is you're going to fuse this. And I'm using the wonderful little iron, the cordless iron. And then we're going to make, and then the next thing you need is, this is going to be your bottom piece. You need the non-woven fusible, lightweight fusible, that fuses only on one side. You're going to take your fabric, right side up. You're going to take your non-woven fusible side facing up. And we are going to sew a quarter.
How do you tell which side is the fusible side?
To tell which side is the fusible side is rough, or depending on what product you get, it may be shiny. So on this product that I got, it's rough, but it could be the shiny side. So you want that facing up. You want your right side of fabric facing up, shiny side facing up. And you are going to sew a 1/4 inch seam around the curve. And today I am using the Creative Icon. And then I'm going to use my pinking blade. And we're just going to kind of cut that off there. To pink that, I'm going to turn this right side out.
So
like
now
this.
The fusible is to the
Now
back
the
side.
fusible is on the inside and it will fuse to the wrong side of the fabric. When you fold this down, make sure you do not see the white fusible on the top. If your interfacing is kind of showing past, make sure you use a pressing mat. And hold for about 6 seconds, and then it's fused together. The next part, now we're going to make the petals. So we're using the rotating mat today. This works wonderful. So I cut my wedges, and my wedge form is right here. I'm going to just cut this out, and if we are using the rotating mat, we can rotate this easy without moving it. So for this project, this rotating mat comes in really handy, especially when you're cutting out the curves here. You want to take these pieces, you want to take this piece, fold it together, right sides together, and we're going to sew across the large part. Change your stitch length to 1.8 or 1.5 depending on your machine, and you're going to stitch across. Now, when I stitch across, I found this works really good for me, is I want to press this so I know where my center line is. So I'm going to press to get my center line. I am then going to take the piece on the side that has the fold, starting at the right above the thread, I'm going to clip a 45-degree corner out of that piece. Then I'm going to take the piece, lay it flat, and press the seam open, and turn it right side out. Then I'm going to take my turning clover. Yes, there's a question.
Could you use the Dresden plate wedge from AccuQuilt?
It is not the same size.
Can I repeat that back?
The question was, can you use the Dresden plate from AccuQuilt? It's not the exact same size. So this is slightly different because I tried a different ruler to see if it was on there. So so the AccuQuilt one I haven't officially looked at. I think it's larger. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's a different size. So you would have to check that. If it is larger, you would have to make your bag dimensions larger. Now, I'm going to fold this over. You want your seam line to be in the center. So the reason why I pressed it is so that I could see that center line. And then I'm just going to press that. You are then going to take your pieces. And the pattern calls for 6 different pieces. So here's a blue piece. I am going to put the pieces together. Still keep my stitch length at 1.5. I'm going to stitch down this side of the piece. And you're going to piece all 7 of them together. And in the instructions, it tells you to piece them together. And then you want to press all of your seams in one direction. So here is my finished points. I'm going to take my piece here. I'm going to lay this on here. And then when I want to be about 3/4 of an inch from the top of the fan, of the curve, on all the points, about 3/4 of an inch. You may have some of your petals hanging off a little bit. That is fine. You are then going to take this piece and double check.
Sue Skis has a question about the Dresden plate template.
Sue Skis has a question about the Dresden plate
It just says
template.
Dresden plate template. So does it come in the pattern? Do you have to trace it?
You have it in the pattern, you trace it. So this is what it looks like. So you would trace out this for your petal, the one right here. Then you trace out one large piece for your fan, and then you trace out this, the next piece for this. And what I did when I laid this on here.
And can we see the finished project real quick?
Here is the finished product again. So these are the petals that I'm doing right now. You want to make sure that the petals, the raw edge, is covered by your bottom piece. And at this point, this is when I would take this piece, pin it, sew across the bottom, and do a decorative stitch. I am then going to take this, put it on there, and then I'm going to sew a decorative stitch across this. Now, you do not have to make the petals. So if you don't want to make the petals, you could just do print fabric, whatever print you want, and then do a decorative stitch. So you can see here where I just did the print, accent bottom, and then I did a decorative stitch across the top to tack it down. This is what it will look like finished when you get, and this will be your front, because the back of the bag is just one solid piece. So as you can see, the black for the bottom is what I use for the back of the bag. So on this one, I would use just this piece here for the back foam piece. Next, you are going to take your 2.5 inch strip by 20. You are going to cut a 2.5 inch square off the end of it. And this is for your clutch handle and the tab. You're going to take these pieces, fold them together in the center, press, fold to the center, and then fold in half. And press. So it's going to be, again, you're going to fold to the center like this and then fold in half. And on the remaining strip, you're going to want to one end. On the ends, you want to fold them in a 1/4 inch and press before you fold them in half into the center again, because the raw edges can be seen. So your strip will finish, it will look like this, and I did an 1/8 of an inch top stitch on both sides and across the ends. On the tab piece will be sewn into the bag, so you can leave the raw edges there. And if it looks kind of messy, you can kind of trim it up a little bit. But the ends will not be seen. And of course, I just did a top stitch across the sides of the bag. Once we're going to set those off to the side at the moment, and then we're going to make the tab for the zipper. We're going to cut a 1 inch by 2.5. We're going to cut 2 pieces like this. We're going to take our zipper. We're going to open it up part way. We want to stitch right across. Now make sure you're using a plastic zipper again. You can't use metal teeth zipper. You want to stitch just across the top of the metal pieces to hold it in place. So I have stitched across the top. I am going to mark. We're going to mark 1.5 inches from the end of the zipper. Where we marked it, we are going to take one of the tabs, right side, we have our zipper right side up. We're going to take this tab, put it right side down. Now what I did at this point is I'm doing one side at a time. I'm going to take the other piece, right side, to the wrong side of the fabric. So, as you can see here, you will see if I flip it both ways, I see the wrong side of the fabric. I found this easier if I clipped one, because we want to keep the zipper relatively close and not have a gap. So then I'm going to use my Wonder Clips. I'm going to clip one side, then I'm going to go to the other side, bump my zipper up, but the zipper is 1 inch wide, so I'm lining it up with the raw edges, and I'm lining it up with my line I drew, and I'm going to clip the other side. And then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch across the top. Once we sew a 1/4 inch across the top, our pieces look like this. We want to trim right at the edge of the raw fabric. Now when I made this bag, I found it easier using a longer zipper, but you waste a lot of the zipper. So this one here is a 14-inch zipper, which works, but I also used a longer one.
What did they call for?
The pattern itself called for a, zipper. It just said a zipper. So the one that, a 14-inch will work, but 22-inch makes it easier for the bag to open up and maneuver easier, but you're wasting almost this much of a zipper. So if you don't want to waste, then go to a 14-inch zipper. And we're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam down the side. So I've sewn my 1/4 inch across the top. I got my fused piece. This may not have the bottom petal. This could be the back piece of your fabric. I'm going to line my fabric up to the edge. So if this was my front piece, I'm going to have right side up, zipper, right side down. And I like to clip this to get it started. And we're going to use the zipper foot, and we're going to sew around here about a quarter, equivalent of a 1/4 inch. So somebody asked about using a 1/4 inch foot. You really want the zipper foot, because if you look at a 1/4 inch foot, it will hit your zipper teeth here, and then your needle, you can't move your needle on a 1/4 inch foot. So you've got to use the zipper foot where you can position your needle.
What does the zipper foot look like?
The zipper foot on a FOF looks like this.
Come a little closer.
The zipper foot on a FOF looks like this. This is the back of the zipper foot. This allows you to have that IDT, which is a built-in walking foot, to be used with the zipper foot. So whichever side your teeth of the zipper you're going to have on, that's where you position. So today I'm going to have my zipper teeth to the left of the needle. So I want the needle to be the left on the foot. So about a 1/4 inch. And again, if you're using the zipper foot, you can adjust to the left. Remember, change your stitch length back to normal. I forgot to do that, so if you're doing this, make sure you change the stitch length back. This is if you have the longer zipper, you can unzip the zipper all the way and just work with the one side. And we're going to sew all the way around the top curve. And then you're going to proceed to do the other side of the bag. You are going to take your right side, and remember, right side down, so I lift it up, and I'm going to line up my bag like this and sew across the other side. Once we've sewn across, our piece will now look like this. So here's the outside of the bag. Here's the inside. So my zipper is right side. We want to turn we still want the bag to be right sides in. Because my zipper's open, if you see here, here's the right side of my bag. I need to attach a lining piece. So I'm going to take right side and put it to right side. And this is helpful on this one to pin all the way around, or your fabric can stretch. And we're going to sew this piece all the way on, and we're going to sew that all the way around. And then you're going to do the same thing for the other lining piece. Sewing a zipper on the curve, the zipper actually really stretches nicely. So you can actually, it works kind of like a bias.
And the binder clips help.
The binder clips really do help. But the point about the zipper foot is the foot. Now when I do the zipper, make sure you're not sewing with the needle down, because sometimes it can slip underneath your foot. So you want to stop with your needle up when you're using the zipper foot, because you always want your zipper foot to butt up to the teeth, and then you adjust your needle. That just keeps you at an even seam allowance. And then once you sew the lining to the side, you're going to take the lining, you're going to flip it over, and you're going to have this. So I'm going to flip that over, and then I'm going to fuse it. So I'm going to press that, and I think this is a piece of fabric I forgot to put Fusible on. Once I fuse this, I'm going to do a top stitch right here, because I want to make sure I catch both sides and the zipper. So if you notice, this is a 14-inch zipper. If I had the 22-inch zipper, this would open more, which would make it easier to maneuver. But again, you do waste a lot of the zipper. Oh, and the other thing, because now we're doing a top stitch, you're going to see the thread. Make sure your thread matches for the type of fabric you have. So if I had pink in both sides, or pink and a gray, depending on, so for example, this bag, this white piece here, I had black to sew this, but I had to change my thread on this bag to do a top stitch here in white, and then went back to black to do a top stitch here. So you have to be mindful of what color your fabrics. It makes it look better if you change your thread. And sometimes if I had, say I had used a pink lining piece, I would want the pink on the side for the lining piece and then the white at the top. So it does look better if you match your thread up to your fabric. So be mindful of that, because you may end up having a color show up on and go, ooh, I'm not happy with that. So I'm still using the zipper foot, but I'm sewing about 1/8 of an inch away. And so there's your lining piece. So what that will look like now, once I had that all done, here's my lining pieces, the top stitch on there. Here's the inside the bag. The next thing we need to do is we need to attach the tab. So we need to attach this. So I'm going to take this and my little D-ring. I'm going to put this in here. And if you end up having a yucky side, make sure that folds. Like if you had a stitch or you used the wrong thread color, fold that to the inside and you won't hardly see it. You're going to then take this on the side that has the extended zipper. You're going to put the tab there, and I like to use the Wonder Clip to hold it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sew a 1/4 inch down this way and this way. You want to kind of tie off and back stitch here, but be careful, you're at the zipper on one side. Do not clip this yet until you sew it. Oh, on the curves there, no, when I flipped it over, I did not clip those curves. Because with the foam, I didn't have to clip, and that's where the top stitching, because it's so thick, it didn't leave a bubble. But when you use this little piece, you can really see if you have too much thickness in there. So it's, because sometimes the longer stitch, it makes it look nicer on a top stitch.
It does.
So I put my 1/4 inch foot on.
Here.
If you had moved your needle for your zipper foot, make sure you put your needle back to the center. And I'm going to start stitching. I'm going to kind of back up, reverse, and go forward again. And you can kind of see some excess there. I'm just going to trim that off. So I'm just going to go 1/4 inch here. When I get to the end, kind of reverse. Oh, one more thing I forgot to tell you, ladies. Before you sew that, open your zipper part way.
I was sort of hoping, I was hoping you would have forgotten, because it would have been fun for you to finish. I had a vision that you finished sewing and then realized you forgot to open your zipper, and I was going to laugh.
She was going to laugh because it would have served me right, because I did not tell you to open your zipper, because then you would have had to take the seam out, get the zipper open. I had already left it open because I knew what I was going to do. I just forgot to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, to do that. Make sure your zipper is open halfway to 3/4 of the way before you sew this 1/4 inch seam. And now we can actually whack off the tail. And then I'm going to trim up. If there's a little excess on the side, I'm just going to trim that up a little bit. What we're going to do next is now we're going to cut out on your pattern that had the little inch block there. You're going to cut an inch square out this bottom corner. I am using the rotary blade for this. Be very mindful, everybody, that if you're using the rotary blade, don't necessarily go all the way to the end, because you can cut past your point. I then will take a pair of scissors and then come in and clip to where I need to. What we're going to do is, now, when I said before that I didn't like their 1.5 inch binding, I went ahead and cut mine at 2 1/4. I folded down one side 1/4 inch. I am going to fold wrong sides together. I'm going to take the side that was folded in at the top here, because the bottom part gets sewn in. And we're going to go, so on one side, we're going to sew a 1/4 inch. Then I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to fold it over, and then I'm going to sew this down, and I'm going to sew right at the edge of my fabric. Make sure you're covering your previous seam. So I clip the bottom here, and we're going to do the same thing to the other side. That will now look like this. So here's my binding piece here. Of course, I remember to open my zipper. Yay, Thomas. Because if you get to this point and realize your zipper's not open, you have to take a lot more stuff out. And we can't do like some people have suggested to me. Can we just whack it off? No.
I have actually swooshed the bag before and grabbed the pull and unzipped it from the inside.
Oh. That's more effective than what I could get done.
Well, you have the pattern in the store.
we will have the pattern in the store. Again, if the pattern is not available, make sure you purchase it, and we will get it in as soon as possible. Because if you don't pre-buy it, then we may not have it available again when it comes back in. So make sure you buy it, then you can guarantee that you get it. I am going to take this piece, fold it together. I'm going to fold one to one side and one to the other side. Your raw edge, the binding piece. And we're going to sew a 1/4 inch across. So now that we have the bag, we're going to turn this right side out.
So the binding folded like you would for a quilt, and it ends up a double fold?
Yes, that's how I did it. The pattern does not call for that. But again, I was not 100% sold on the pattern. Again, sorry for who made the pattern. It's a wonderful pattern. I just
adapted it.
I adapted it to what I like to do. Then we're going to take our turner, make sure our corners are out. And I think I now have like 3 more bags for my nieces now with this. But we're not done yet. All right. So the piece that I told you to put off to the side, which is this piece here. You're going to take, you need your swivel hook clamp. The clamp. We're going to take this piece. We're going to fold this piece up about 1 inch from the top. We're going to insert the swivel hook, and then we're going to fold this piece over like this. Make sure you leave enough room that the swivel is not right on the inside fold, because you want to be able to sew a square right here. And your machine will not like to sew through the metal. Trust me, I know this. So I'm going up one side, pivoting, going across the top, making sure I'm hitting the inside fold. Then I'm going to stitch down the other side. I am now going to stitch across the bottom. When I get to the other side, now I'm going to stitch an angle. I'm going to stitch through the center, and then I'm going to pivot, stitch down to one side again, pivot, and now I'm going to go across the center again at an angle and create an X in the center. And this is for you, Barb. Clip your threads, because I'm bad for that. Everybody knows that.
Because as Deb says, the difference between handmade and homemade.
Yes. Yes, very much so. And so this is here. Wrong bag. Correct bag. Now, I have this pouch. This one is completely done. Yay! This is the one that uses the petals. So you can see that if you have an accent fabric and you want to showcase some fabric here, you can do that without putting the petals on there and just do a decorative stitch across here. Or on this one, I just did a blanket stitch across here and then a blanket stitch around my petal top. So that's my wonderful, cute little bag today. You can do it with the petals or you can do it without the petals. But they're both very cute. I really enjoyed making this bag. It is one that I'm pretty sure my nieces are going to love, because that's who's going to get these bags. Unless my sister is really nice to me, then Kitten might get one. Next week, we're going to do Cork Bowls.
I think the pattern is not as cute.
The pattern is not as cute, but the idea behind it is really cute. It's using your cork, and you're going to make a bowl out of it. So that's going to be my project next week, is cork strip bowls. Where this is nice is, say that you were using your cork, and you have like a 2.5 inch strip, which is what you need for the pattern, but you can't really use it for anything else. This uses up scrap cork.
And it'll be sturdy.
And it's going to be sturdy because you're literally going to take the cork, fold it, and fold it again. So it's going to be sturdy, and it will use up some of your cork scraps. Everybody, thank you again for watching. I really enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just stop by the store, and I will have this ready for next week. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.